Now, Jen Glantz started off with a degree in poetry and journalism and may have the most unique career of all our speakers. She now has 2 published books as well as a remarkably successful business. I think you're going to be very interested by her story. Please welcome to the stage, Jen Glantz.
Hello. What is up, Creativity Next? I hope all of you are having a pumped up day. My name is Jen Glantz, and today I'm going to talk to you about how rejection makes you a hero. At these talks, you might often hear people come on up here and tell you about all of the wild things they accomplished and how successful they are, and your jaw just drops. You might be sitting there thinking, wow, how do I do that? How do I become just like them? Or maybe you're pulling out your smartphone and you're going to Google and you're typing, how could I be that awesome? Now, I have had my fair share of really cool, successful moments, but that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. I want to start off by telling you about my most famous moments of rejection. This right here is a list of all the people who told me I wasn't good enough, who told me I wasn't creative enough, who told me my least favorite word, no. Now, I want to start off by talking about one of my most gigantic moments of rejection that I will never, ever forget. I was around your age, I was 14, and I was a freshman in high school. And I didn't know much about myself except that I had a full set of braces and even more pimples on my face. But I knew at that age I wanted to be a writer. So when the school said, you know what, we're going to have some new people join our newspaper staff, I thought to myself, yes, this is my ticket in to becoming a writer and becoming famous. So I went up to the teacher who was selecting the people to be on newspaper staff, and I said, my name is Jen Glantz, and I'm going to be your star writer. And he said, cool, Jen, nice to meet you. Why don't you put together a portfolio and apply just like everybody else? And I said, okay, sure, I'll do just that. And I spent weeks putting together a collection of my best work. I wrote new articles just to put in the portfolio. I made my mother drive me to Office Depot so I can get the best folder to put it all in, and I submitted my application. 2 weeks later, they posted on the board who made newspaper staff, and I was so excited. I went straight up to the board, I searched for my name, and I saw it wasn't on there. And I thought, okay, no problem, must have been a mistake with the printer. It's probably on a page 2, that's left somewhere. So I marched up to the teacher and I said, teacher, my name, it's just not on that list, but I'm on the newspaper staff, right? And he said, it's not a mistake. And I felt my whole body shake, and my face must have been a white shade of pale. And I said to him, well, why? Why not me? I'm Jen Glantz, I want to be a writer. And he said, Jen, to be honest, you're not very good. And not only that, I'm going to give you a piece of advice, Jen. And I said, yes, a piece of advice. He said, you know what, Jen? I don't think you're ever going to be very good. You should go do something else, anything else. I went home to my mom that night and I said, Mom, I'm quitting being a writer. I don't want to do it anymore because this guy at school, this teacher of mine, told me that I wasn't good. And she looked at me in the eye and said, Jen, if you ever want to pursue anything creative, you have to learn how to handle rejection. And nothing has been more true throughout my career. The first book I tried to publish was rejected 23 times. And I don't know if you know this, but when you try to publish a book and you submit it to different publishers, they send you one letter that tells you exactly why they did not like your book. I got 23 of those letters in 1 week for my first book. And eventually I found a way of getting it published. My second book, well, I thought, okay, this is going to be easy. I wrote a book already. They're going to love it. That one was rejected 43 times. Rejection is something that I have spotted again and again and again throughout my creative life. And during my journey, I started to think to myself, am I the only person who has been told I'm not good enough? Turns out, I'm not. Walt Disney was fired from the Kansas City Star newspaper in 1919 because they told him he had no imagination and he had no good ideas. the Lion King. It's a good idea. Elvis, after a show in Nashville, the concert manager told Elvis to drive right back to Memphis and not quit his day job of being a truck driver. I'm glad Elvis did not listen to that. And this right here, Michael Jordan, he might be known as a legend, but he is honest about the fact that he has missed 9,000 shots. He has lost over 300 games. And on 26 different occasions, his team members trusted him to take the winning shot, and he missed. What I love most about Michael Jordan is that he says it's only because his moments of failure that he is successful. So if you, my friends, are going to exercise your superpowers, which are your creative juices, you're going to have to know how to hug failure hello and handle it. Here's how. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is rejoice in the answer no. Now, I know it's not the outcome that you wanted or that you wished for, but it's a start. Every time someone tells you no, I want you to say yes. Why is that? Because it shows living proof that you tried. And trying is step number 2 to any dream that you have. The other amazing thing about the answer no is it's an answer. It means they know you exist. The 43 publishers who turned down my books were the first people to read my creative projects. And even though they didn't like it, they read it, they knew I existed, my name meant something to them, and that alone is a moment of success to cheer for. Now, the next thing I want you to do is give it your best response. When somebody tells you to your face, online, through an email, or even a text message, that you're not what it takes to be in this position or to have this creative process succeed, I want you to respond with a 3-letter word. Why? I want you to find out why they think that way. Because oftentimes when someone rejects us, we take that response and we curl inside and we don't do anything about it except plot how we're going to give up. But instead, I want you to fire back with the best response you can, which is why. So that you can start to break down what it is that they might be looking for or you might be missing in their eyes so that you can know exactly why this opportunity wasn't working. And then after that, I want you to fire back with an alternative. Just because someone rejects you doesn't mean it's the end of the road. It's just an opportunity for you to fire back and say, well, give me another shot. Extend my deadline. Let me try again. My most favorite thing to do when someone tells me no, or I'm not good enough, or this book is not going to be published, is to say, wait. Let me do it again. Let me try it this way. Let me try it that way. Let me try something else. Try something else. Because then it's time for you to step up your game. None of us are at a level of perfection, no matter how many successful moments we have. Every time rejection comes your way, think of one thing you can do to step up your game, to improve. Maybe that's take a workshop or a class or spend an hour every day practicing and honing in on your craft. Maybe that's you doing projects for just yourself to see and experience. But think to yourself, when rejection comes your way, what else can I do to improve? Now, my final thing for you to do when rejection comes and says hello is to try again, and again, and again, and again. Could you imagine what the world would be like if Walt Disney listened to the Kansas City Star in 1919? We wouldn't have The Little Mermaid. What about if Elvis went back to becoming a truck driver because one person told him he was not good? And dare I say it, Michael Jordan, what happens if he said, I'm quitting because of all these moments of failure that he had? The biggest legends we look up to and we love and we want to be like are the ones who have faced the most rejection. Never, ever forget that. Every time you meet a person who seems to be so cool, so awesome, so successful, ask them to name some of the rejections they've had. And I bet you they will rattle off a list that will blow your mind. Now that I've told you some of my moments of rejection and failure, I've had some moments of success too. I was able to publish 2 books so far in my career. Most recently, my newest book came out in February, and one of the biggest and best moments of my life was getting to walk into Barnes & Noble on February 7th and pick up a copy of my book in a bookstore that I would go to monthly to read everybody else's. And as I looked at that book, the only thing I could think about was every single rejection that got me there. And it was the rejection that I celebrated far harder than that moment of success. I also started a really crazy, weird business 3 years ago that people told me not to pursue because it was weird and different and unusual and frankly didn't make much sense to people because it was innovative. And I said, let me show you why the world needs this. And 3 years later, this business has become an international phenomenon. I've had 20,000 people apply to work for me because they want to be part of something different and strange and weird. And the cool thing is, I've been on over 100 TV shows, including a show on ABC called To Tell the Truth. After the first couple TV shows I did, people told me, you know what, Jen? Stick to radio. Stick to something where people can't see you touch your hair and flutter your eyes and do all of these nervous tics that you do. And I used that rejection, those negative comments to say, how can I improve myself and how can I show them I'm not going to give up? And 100 TV shows later, every time I get behind that camera, I smile so wide and I say, I got this. So, my goal for all of you guys out there, all my friends, is to work really, really hard. And when rejection comes your way, because I'm going to tell you it's going to so many times, I want you to remember that every single time you face rejection, it is one step closer to success. And every rejection that you go through proves that you're a superhero. So please, pretty please, please do me a favor and don't you dare ever give up. Thank you so much. Thank you.